Oh, man. Good morning, folks. What a wonderful time to talk about the digital blockchain currency and the loss of freedom. Good times. I've been telling you guys about this for a while. I don't know, about 3 years, longer than that, actually, if you count like my community posts and stuff. But the first person to turn me on to this kind of stuff is JD Farag. He's a pastor. I'm going to link his site down below. Really good pastor. He's one of the only ones that speaks on this kind of stuff because, well, 501c churches, they're owned by the government. They're tax exempt and, yeah, they're not very good. So it's hard to find a pastor that'll speak straight on this stuff. It's a danger. It really is. It's a danger to your life. It's a danger to your business, etc. But this isn't conspiracy land anymore. This is coming right out of their mouths. They're saying it. They're telling everybody this is coming. I told you about Fed Now is coming in July, last I checked. But I'm just going to go through what she says. I'm going to pause it every now and then and interject. I'm not going to talk over people like I did in the other documentary. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get started here.
I remember talking to an Australian diplomat at one point about this break between the US and China and said, both sides are going to say, whose team are you on? And he said, our job is to make sure the question never arises.
That's interesting. Now, why did we, I don't know if you guys remember the New Deal. I think it was Roosevelt who set that up, where he was like, hey, we need to boost our industry and get all these jobs going. And then it was like a bait and switch. They shipped it over to China. So I know everybody growing up in this country, 80s, 90s, everybody's thinking, why is everything made in China? Well, because they planned this a long time ago. So this breakup between the United States and China and all this garbage, well, it wouldn't have been a problem if we weren't like codependent on China. So you could see how they got us into a situation that we weren't going to be getting out of unless we did things a certain way.
But the question has arisen. And so I think we have to go deeper. And it's not about the US versus China. It's about what underpins a world order is.
A world order. Interesting. I don't remember voting for a world order. Do you? Did anybody vote for this?
Always the financial system. I was very privileged. My father was an advisor to Nixon when they came off the gold standard and said,
oh, wow. That's quite the revelation. So her dad was involved in advising the president when we got off the gold standard, which, by the way, was very, very bad. And we got off the gold standard and we went on to oil. And, well, that got us tied up with Saudi Arabia. And I think to some extent Russia. I'm not sure how much we deal with them with that, but I don't know. At any rate, the gold standard, Fort Knox, all the gold, that kind of thing, promissory notes, not worth a thing anymore. Her dad was involved in that. And now she just happens to be involved in the next step, going digital. So that's like a legacy of evil.
Yes. A Jedi's weapon. Much like your father's. By now you must know your father can never be turned from the dark side. So will it be with you.
Good job, lady. Well done. But by all means, let's continue.
71, and so I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new accounting is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy.
Misa proposed that the Senate give immediately emergency powers to the Supreme Chancellor.
What? That's scary, right? Do you want somebody knowing every cent that you spend, exactly where it goes? Do you think maybe that's a little bit of government overreach? Right? Now, who is supposed to be working for us? Does anybody remember how this works? We elect them and they work for us. Well, no, see, that's not how it works anymore. It hasn't worked that way for a long time. And it starts to make sense when you look back at Kennedy getting assassinated. It's like, yeah, you can look throughout history and see people who got themselves whacked, and they tried. They tried, but everybody else got in line really quick. So yeah, having everything and a record of everything, this gives them complete and total control over you. So if you step out of line, if you say something you're not supposed to say, or you do this or that, they're going to be able to control that very, very easily.
Which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. It also raises huge dangers in terms of the balance of power between states and citizens. In my opinion, we're going to need a digital constitution of human rights.
Right. And it'll be about as real as that money, right? It'll be a digital pile of crap. It won't mean anything. It's going to be about as real as it's just in the air. You think they're going to adhere to that? I don't think so. So they're setting up the Antichrist kingdom. They're setting up the mark of the beast. I mean, Christians have been complaining about this, well, telling you about this for a long time. And the mark of the beast is a thing, like 2,000 years, I think. And it didn't make sense for a while. People were like, what, are they just going to write something on our hands or whatever? Well, no, they're going to put a little chip in there, or like a tattoo. They call it like the quantum dot tattoo. I don't know. You can look into that. It's got this like type of ink in it called Luciferase. Luciferase, which is, it's basically the stuff that's in nature that glows. It's like a natural, there's certain fish that have it, and it's a luminescent bioluminescence. So if you know anything about Scripture, and it speaks a lot on Satan being that false light, right? So bioluminescence isn't the real light, doesn't come from the sun. So they got clever about it. The scientists are like, we'll call it Luciferase because it's not the real light. See, it's that false light. So they've baked all of this stuff into this. It goes deep. You get into crazy conspiracy land, but I think it's going to be that quantum dot tattoo type deal, where you have to scan your hand or your forehead. Now, I can't imagine many people would want it on their forehead, but hey, that's where it's headed nevertheless.
If we're going to have digital money, but also this new money will be sovereign in nature. Most people think that digital money is crypto and private.
She's just sitting there thinking, oh, everything those Christians said is true. You can just see the wheels turning. She's like, this is really happening? This is really happening, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Now, I can't be sure that's what's going through her head, but she sure looks concerned to me. And the lady to the right of her looks like she's not too happy about it either. So there's got to be some people in here that are like, oh boy, we're getting biblical real fast up in here.
But what I see are superpowers introducing digital currency. The Chinese were the first. The US is on the brink, I think, of moving in the same direction. The Europeans have committed to that as well. And the question is, will that new system of digital money and digital accounting accommodate the competing needs of the citizens of all these locations so that every human being has a chance to have a better life? Because that's the only measure of whether our world order really serves.
Our world order. So yeah, she said it again, world order. Now, I don't know if I'm repeating myself because I tried to record this like 3 or 4 times now, but I don't remember voting for a world order. Did y'all vote for that? Is this a democracy? No, it's not. And you can plainly see that it's not, because nobody's voting for this digital currency. And if it was put up to a vote, do you think we would give the government all that power? No. And if we resist this, and we're really stiff about resisting it, what do you think they might do? You think they might plan some other chaotic event? What do you think 2020 was all about? Weakening all these markets, crashing all this stuff. You can very plainly see that there's subversion here, that they're intentionally crashing markets and getting everybody weakened It's the same thing with the weapons. They're intentionally trying to take them away. They got all this stuff going on. Oh, man, it just keeps happening. I don't know why it's happening. Oh, all these factories are catching on fire and blowing up, and all this food is just gone. All these animals, chickens and cows and pigs, etc. It's constant in the news. Like, I don't know how anybody can still be in denial over this stuff. It just blows my mind. And I used to get mad at you guys for it, but you know, I'm a little bit more understanding of it now. The Lord has really laid it on my heart. He's said to me, you know, look, you were blind to all this stuff at one point too. You didn't want to hear any of it either. You just wanted to be left alone in your bubble. You just wanted to play your games, and you even blasphemed me a few times. You even like, I don't want to talk about God in this house, etc. So I have to be patient with people, because there are some of you who are going to come to Christ at the final hour. There are some of you who are going to get it. And you might be listening to my voice now and you're like, I kind of see what you're saying. But trust me, guys, strap in. You're really going to see what Christians have been saying pretty soon, unfortunately. But I'm going to kick this over to you now. I want to know what you guys think about this down in the comment section below. If you guys like this, I ask that you please leave a thumbs up. If you're new here, I ask that you please subscribe. God bless, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.